Hi everybody, I'm here to talk about yesterday's 3-0 win for Rangers against Dundee in the League Cup quarter-final at Ibrox. Yes, I said at Ibrox for the first time this season. Just looking at the Copeland stand, it looks a fantastic job they've done with it. They've actually increased the seating capacity for ordinary fans, but the disabled section just looks brilliant. It'll be the best in the country, actually. Well, north of the border, it'll be the best disabled section anywhere in Scotland. And did they get any credit for it? No. All the stuff I've read and seen on highlights or whatever, no mention of it whatsoever about how fantastic a job they've done to improve the lot of Rangers disabled fans. So they spent over £1 million probably in creating this. All the hassle I've had with the delays and not a jot of credit for it. Well, that sums up the Celtic press in this country, doesn't it? Anyhow, it was great to be back at Ibrox. Apparently 33,000 there, so a decent crowd considering the top half of the Copeland was not used, and it was Dundee and it was the League Cup, and it was on TV live, so all these factors should have reduced the crowd maybe even more, but 33,000, decent crowd, a decent game. Despite the fact that as soon as I heard the team, I was annoyed as usual because again the manager let us down in terms of being too cautious. I would sort of say maybe majority of the fans there are watching TV expected in such a game Igamani to start up front, Bayrami to start, maybe Tavernier dropped and Sterling or Kazan Warji at right back, Lawrence not to play again, that kind of thing. But oh no, he sticks with Drossers up front. I'll come back to him later. Drossers up front. Igamani comes on, with 25 minutes to go or something. Cortez didn't even start. Knew he wasn't going to play the whole game, but you think he would have started, but no, he comes on the last 20 minutes or so as well. So disappointing lineup. The only good thing was Dowell was nowhere to be seen, thankfully. But the manager just doesn't seem to change anything. He seems too cautious. I thought Tavernier had another shocker of a game. The penalty was the only thing he did right, practically. And yet, in this morning's papers, you've got the manager saying he had a good game and he deserved a standing ovation when he was coming off. Get real. I hope you don't really believe that. I hope you're just saying that, because if you truly believe that, we are in trouble, because that was another shocker. He could have cost us 2 goals, and against better opposition, he would have cost us 2 goals. So how he can say things like that is beyond me, unless it's just for the PR and to boost the captain's confidence, because he was the worst man in the team, or he would have been if it hadn't been for the dreadful Czerny and even worse Sterling, who looked as if he'd never played a game of football before. So they were the three biggest duds in the whole team, and in fact another couple didn't play much better. A lot of them, if you think about it, a lot of them had nice touches here and there. They did good things, but not enough. You can't be in a Rangers team if your contribution's 3 or 4 touches, the way Lawrence, for instance, did last week at Tannadice. He did much the same yesterday as well. So you've got to offer more than just a few nice touches here and there, a good pass here and there. But for half the team, that seemed to be what this whole situation developed, actually ended up in. So, decent enough performance, some good passages of play, some good performances, but equally other bits of play were sloppy, not fast enough. Certain players were just substandard, as I've said. Tavernier, Sterling, Czerny. I'll come back to Drossers in a minute. Lawrence with his shooting, although he did some nice flicks and tricks and passes, just a few, as I said a minute ago. You need to offer more than just that in an entire 90 minutes. So anyhow, comfortable win, more comfortable than last week's, obviously, because we got an early second half goal thanks to a penalty. But better performance, a more comfortable 90 minutes all round. So it is improvement, and it did at least eventually get game time into the legs of Igamani and Cortez, people like that. We started well, we passed it about well, we didn't really create very much. We should have scored before we did actually score. For instance, there was one move where Drossers actually did well to beat the guy, and then as usual, he hits it straight at the goalkeeper's legs and it bounces away. And in fact, the first goal came about from that very thing. Give him a bit of credit here. Drossers actually did a first time shot straight at the goalkeeper, right enough. It bounced out. Tavernier tried to shoot, and his shot was so bad it just went straight back into the likes of the 6 yard box, or maybe 8 yards out. And give him his due. Drossers actually kind of adjusted his feet just to deflect it, and he didn't even swipe at it. He just deflected his feet, and it went in the net off, I think, his right foot. So well done for his quick thinking there. I don't think it just hit off him. I think he deliberately put it in the net. So well done to him for that. But that summed up our shooting. The fact that Tavernier was shooting for goal and it was going miles by the far post, probably. That was the biggest annoyance, I would say. The number of shots we had from Lawrence, and when he came on Diomande, Tavernier, shooting high and wide, just nowhere near the goals, not even just missing by miles, just pathetic efforts. Did they not practice their shooting in training? Because it was unbelievable. I think the stats were something like 18 shots at goal and 11 on target. So I suppose that was good. 11 on target. So that meant the goalkeeper saved, or some of them were blocked or whatever. But 11 on target. I think Dundee had 3 shots, 2 on target. So they need to practice their shooting. I mean, the ones that were going past the post, over the bar, were just ridiculous efforts. Lawrence was the main culprit. What's the point of scoring a goal like he did last week at Tannadice if he's getting chances like yesterday and not even getting them on target? So pretty pathetic in the shooting stakes, I would have said. But some nice passages of play. The right hand side was a dead loss because Tavernier was just rubbish. Czerny doesn't look as if he's strong enough, kind of resilient enough to take on Scottish defenders. He has a nice touch, and we know from his first game at Hampden he can shoot with his left foot. But the few times he did cut inside yesterday, it came to nothing. I don't think he even got... No, he did get a shot away in the second half, a sort of tame one straight at the goalkeeper, and he never looks as if he can beat anybody on the outside before maybe cutting it back across the face of the goal. So I'm glad he's only on loan, because I can't see him being signed for any kind of money at the end of this season, unless he suddenly bucks up his ideas, because he just doesn't look the part. And then the other side, unfortunately, the manager saw fit to shove Bayrami out on the left wing when everybody knows he's a number 10. He should be playing in the middle behind the striker, where he can pass, he can link up, he can shoot. Although, similar to Lawrence, he had a couple of shots that were high and wide as well. But that's where they should be playing, not stuck out in the left wing. Cortez should have been given the first half out there to show what he can do, because he's the best winger we've got, in my opinion, but he's not getting any game time, or not enough at this point. So that was pretty poor. Drossers, let's give him some credit again. The third goal, his second goal, was an absolute beauty. Great move. Shefty passed it forward for Bayrami to run onto, and you can see from our vantage point in the Sandy Jardine rear, get it across the face of the goal, and sure enough, he looked up, fired it across, plenty of pace on it, across the face of the goal, and there's Drossers running in, having to stretch to kind of half volley it as it bounced up, volley it into the net. Absolute beauty, so well done to him. Maybe there is a player in there after all, or maybe not, because I can still see the other ones he missed. He missed 2 or 3 before that point. So anyhow, great goal. Penalty in between from the guy kind of wrestling Drossers to the ground. What was his name? Silla. He'd done it in the first half where he had both arms round him, round his chest from behind. hauling him down, referee nothing, VAR nothing, absolutely ridiculous. And then the second half, when it happened again, only this time the guy tried to kick as well, kick the ball. It was deemed a penalty, and Tavernier did well to dispatch it, but that was the only good thing he did the whole game. Looking at the rest of the game, other chances where we final pass wasn't good enough, or the shot was poor, or the defender blocked it, or whatever. It should have been more than 3. As for Dundee, the best chance they had was a ball that came across, and the young guy got between the 2 central defenders. A simple header, and he put it past the post. Now, in any other good team getting a chance like that, it's in the net. Never mind him. If it had been Simon Murray on the end of that, it would have been in the net. So that was a shocking lapse by the defence. And even worse, another one came when it was, I think it was 2-0 at the time, and it was Simon Murray who managed to hit it towards the goal from about 6 yards out, and Jack Butland managed to save it, and he saved it with his right hand. He palmed it out, but it went straight back to Murray, who was going to just nod it in easily. But credit to Butland, he got his left hand to it and just palmed it away before the guy could head it into the net. So that was almost a miraculous save. So that would have been 2-1 at that point. So well done, Jack Butland. He only had a couple of saves to make, but he did make them at vital times. So that's the advantage of having a classy goalkeeper. So that was Dundee's 2 main chances. And the worrying thing is we can't afford to do that against Malmo, for instance, on Thursday, or any other decent team, because they'll bury these chances. So looking at the players as a whole, Tavernier shocking. Central defenders were good, although they weren't up against much. Suter especially was good. Proper was okay. Shefty was one of the best guys in the team. He could have been man of the match, although the sponsors gave it to Drossers because he scores 2 goals, just ignore everything else. But Shefty could have got the man of the match. Equally, Connor Barron, what's becoming just a normal performance for him. Tackling, winning the ball back, always available, running into space to take a pass and demanding he gets the ball. Forward passing, the only guy that seems to 9 times out of 10 pass the ball forward, and I don't mean 5 yards, I mean 20-yard forward passes right to somebody's feet or in front of them. He had an excellent game again, but it's just becoming the norm, so it's kind of going under the radar a wee bit. Bayrami did some neat passes. That wasn't his proper position, but he showed enough that hopefully we'll get a lot out of him in the coming months. Czerny was a disaster. I thought he was rubbish. Sterling couldn't do anything right. He couldn't tackle, he couldn't pass the ball, it was running away from him. He just looked totally lost, so no wonder he was hooked at half time. He was probably the worst man in the team, actually, and I like Sterling. Anybody else I've not mentioned? Lawrence, as I say, did a few good things, but too often shooting just was off point. When the subs came on, Igamani right in front of me, in fact, on the touchline, he was surrounded by 3 guys up pushing him, shoving him, and all the rest of it, and he kept control of the ball and he fended them off, and then they passed it back to, I think it was Shefty at the time, to keep possession. So a big strong guy, plenty of determination. He looks the part. He's got to get a whole game surely pretty soon, and let's see if he can actually score goals as well. He did fire one, maybe a foot past the far post, and it was a decent effort. There wasn't an easy chance or anything. So he looks as if he could be a possible number 1 striker for us, and get Cortez more game time, because he should be a really dangerous player for us in the left wing, with Bayrami inside one where he can link up with him and Shefty, which he was doing yesterday as well. Drossers, usual Drossers, 2 or 3 chances he hit straight at the goalkeeper. One he hit into the ground and it bounced up and the goalie palmed it past for a corner kick when it shouldn't have been kicked into the ground in the first place. So just the same old Drossers. I'm still not holding out any hope for him, but he did do a few decent things as well in terms of a pass here and there, but you've got to do a lot more than he does, and yet some people stood up and gave him a standing ovation when he was subbed. Maybe the last comment, the right back, Dutch guy, Kazan Warji, he actually looked, I like the look of his build. He looked strong, tall, quite quick. Give him a go at right back. What have we got to lose? Tavernier is shocking right now, but he came on for like 5 minutes, so it's practically a waste of time. But in the 5 minutes, he did look reasonable. So good on him for these 5 minutes worth of effort. So a good win, comfortable win into the semis. Looks like being Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, Motherwell. Let's hope we get Motherwell, and that gives us more time before the final in December for these new guys to actually build up a bit of momentum and get acquainted with their teammates, at least know their names, and we might be ready to take on Celtic by that time in the final. So next up, Malmo. I'll take a draw right now. A win would be magnificent, but I'll take a draw. And next week we've got Hibs at Ibrox. Hopefully the whole stadium will be utilised and the crowd will roll them on to I would say a 3 or a 4-0 win at this point. Just wise up, manager, and try and use some of these new guys for longer and earlier in games.